This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with Astro-Insight for the month of November 2025. Halloween is over as a day on the calendar, but its atmosphere lingers throughout the month. Secrets, mysteries, and all kinds of spookiness continue dancing through life amid sparks and flares that spur us and the action on. The pairings give November a weird, steamy blend of fire and water, coming off planets moving in and out of adventurous, flexible Sagittarius and fierce, persistent Scorpio. The vibe is multi-layered and ever-changing, with 6 sign changes, 2 of them taking retrograde planets into previously traveled territory. You're being immersed in what you think, feel, and want, and then energized to go after your vision. Use this sentence as a reminder of what's going on as the month progresses. Otherwise, energies could be disorienting. Watery ways start the month. We have itches we want to scratch and howl, but something cautions not so fast, while something else, romanticizing, fantasizing, deception, fuels temptation. As Venus in Libra squares Jupiter in Cancer and inconjuncts Saturn in Pisces, while Mars in Scorpio trines Neptune in Pisces on the 2nd and the 3rd. The first puff of steam follows, with actions moving into wild, free, boundary-pushing form. Mars enters Sagittarius November 4th and launches his 5 weeks in the sign with an immediate standoff with volatile Uranus, spawning philosophical standstills, unexpected opposition, and all-round frustration. Travel twists and turns are more than possible. A rare grounding moment comes via the Taurus full moon November 5th, putting the physicality of existence in the spotlight. Finances, creature comforts, and physical conditions are up for review. New pathways open when Mars sextiles Pluto November 6th and then cedes center stage to Venus. Relationships, agreements, creativity, and values get cosmic underscoring from a yod or finger of God to Venus from Neptune, her overseer in love, and Uranus, cosmic agent of change and surprises. We can't run from them, and indeed, we dive right in. Simultaneously, Venus slips into her sexy power mode of Scorpio, and the social vibe intensifies. We're private, possessive, interested in deep, deep connections, and drawn to power and mystery, all of which get extra oomph November 7th from her square to Pluto, her counterpart in money and desire. How badly do you want it? Enough to sacrifice something? The ground rumbles. Old ghosts stir. Worldly issues signal that they're not done with you yet. Uranus retrograde takes him back into Venus's earthy home of Taurus, also November 7th, for one last pass until he re-enters Gemini in April next year. The first stretch retraces his journey in June and early July, but you may well encounter unfinished business from his entire tenure in the sign, which began in 2018. Time in Taurus, you might think, would be grounding, but not with the electricity and disruption flying off this visitor. This business of the past resurfacing is just getting started. 2 back-to-back retrogrades are pulling us over recently traveled territory and sending off more steam as they do. The year's final Mercury retrograde starts November 9th. All things communication and transportation are heading off course and demanding caution and second looks until the end of the month. The first days are high on frustration as Sagittarius' bent for freedom of movement hits obstacles and rerouting. Steam kicks in when Jupiter stations retrograde for 4 months on November 11th. His shift unleashes an undertow in the ongoing flow of water and emotions and creates the sensation that a water grand trine is still in effect. Where between them, technically, the end of October saw 2 involving Mercury and then Mars. Anything coming back already from then? And 3 more are coming later this month. Meanwhile, fieriness ramps up, kicking and screaming, when Mercury meets Mars November 12th, echoing and energizing their meeting in Scorpio October 20th. It's a decidedly form follows thought moment, with the caveat that the thought part might be confused or more riled up than informed. And then come more tidal waves of emotion. Total immersion is inescapable, with the Scorpio sun forming yet another water grand trine with Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, tugging us backward, and Saturn retrograde in Pisces, also tugging us backward, with an assist from Neptune retrograde in Pisces, also tugging us, Each of us is individually absorbing everything that's swirling in the waters. Issues from March 2025 are particularly noticeable. As with each of these recurring water grand trines, nothing in the sky is grounding this untethered energy. Your challenge, your very task, is to do that for yourself. Find pointers for this in my free Reclaiming Your Energy talk, available to download from the shop at my site. Could things get more intense? Don't ask a question to which you're not willing to hear the answer. Yes, they can. And boy, do they, heavy on unspoken transmissions and emotions when Mercury slides back into Scorpio November 18th. His first appointment is staring down Uranus, now retrograde in Taurus, and getting quite a different view of practicalities. After which he trines Neptune, retrograde in Pisces, and zeroes in on fantasies, lies, and the experience of others. Empathy surges, anyone? The waters settle into clarity at his conjunction to the Sun November 20th under the Scorpio new moon. The moon parlays all the water trine activity into the next phase of existence. She's following Mercury's recent lead and making her own trine to Neptune, linking plumbing the depths with transcending worldly existence. She's also forming yet another water grand trine with Saturn and Jupiter. It's possible to part the waters. Watch for lightning shooting into them. It's within your powers of perception, thanks to Uranus sextiling Neptune at the new moon. What might you see differently? This pair is especially promising for innovations in creativity. November 21 shows what is yet out of reach from the Sun's opposition to Uranus, while stirring nostalgia for what has been from the Sun's trine to Neptune. You just might let up on other people a bit, and possibly even yourself. After which, we catch fire. The Sun begins his annual visit to Sagittarius, also on November 21st, amplifying optimism in the drive to expand and explore. This move revives the ability to find humor and to see the big picture, and encourages indulging in a little fun. Yet, there's still more emotionality to come. The waters crest into another water grand trine, linking Mercury to Saturn and Jupiter November 22nd. All 3 of the points are retrograde, and so is Neptune, who is distantly in the mix from his conjunction to Saturn. This has the potential to be incredibly beneficial because of the enormity of the hidden data and factors this trine is disgorging. Mercury's investigations are uncovering so much more to the story that it's likely to overwhelm. Remember the retrograde's offer of do-overs and use newly surfacing info to rework anything you want. We'll be immersed as if time's stopped by his direct station, November 29th. Read more in my Mercury Retrograde Survival Guide at Ohm Times. Personal clarity and transformation are on hand when the Sun sextiles Pluto November 23rd. When you're clearer about your identity and your bottom line, relationships rearrange to fit. Powerful, candid communications and connections follow at the Mercury-Venus conjunction November 24th. We know what our values are, and our agreements follow suit. All our dealings flood with supersized emotions, obligations, and commitment. On November 26, Venus takes her turn completing the water grand trine with Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune. The waters are bittersweet and nostalgic. Family looms large, biological and chosen. The way we were dominates many a playlist. It's a bridge moment, suspending us in awareness of what was as we begin to move into what is to be. Time feels at a standstill, thanks to the apparent motionlessness of two planets. Saturn stations direct November 27th, slowly beginning his final exit from Pisces. He'll stay at the degree of this station till the end of the year and not leave the sign till Valentine's Day. A last cleanup is underway. What have you learned since March 2023? What can you contain? What is your responsibility? Mercury stations direct on November 29th and begins floating toward his final water grand trine in December. In the stillness of this moment, notice what surfaces, clarifies, or points the way. Relationships, money, and values close out the month. Venus opposes Uranus as Mercury stations direct on November 29th, showing the cost of certain situations and lighting up disruptions. More nostalgia and possibly some peace follow. Venus trines her higher counterpart in love and inspiration, Neptune, on November 30th, and links earthly and otherworldly expressions of both. It could be a beautiful day, brimming with gentle illusion, goodwill, and sightings of the divine down here. November ends with one more injection of fire. Venus moves into Sagittarius for nearly a month and sparks a zest for adventure, for good times, for shaking off some of that water and moving freely. We're not out of the water yet, but we've got the energy to do rather than simply be. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 35 years' experience. Visit my site, empowermentunlimited.net, to sign up for my mailing list, listen to my weekly podcasts, and book a session with me. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who support my work there. I host the show Celestial Compass on Ohm Times Radio and TV on the first and third Monday of every month at 5 p.m. Eastern. I also host Conversation on Facebook, on the page Empowerment Unlimited, and in the group the Astro-Insight Lounge. I post on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Threads at Ka Biehl, and on YouTube at the Professional Aquarian Channel.